Yeah, hello guys. So in last video we discussed about this import export concept, and we basically created a file and exported a function here. So right now we can go ahead with our first major concept of React, and that is components. And from now on, everything we will be doing, or whatever things we are going to implement, or whatever task we are going to perform, we are going to create a component for it. So when I say that without components you can't do anything in React, so trust me, that is, you should not have a doubt on it, because this is this is this component part is literally a backbone for this React system, because whatever we do, we simply create a component for that. So from now on we will be doing the same thing. We will be creating a separate component for each of the work we are going to do in our application. So basically, what is component? So component is a reusable piece of code, means you can reuse it as many time as you want. And one of the best example, means why it is so popular, or why it is a major concept of React, because this helps us to create single page applications. And what are single page applications? Single page applications are basically a dynamic application where you can update certain piece of code at a particular condition, or at a particular time. And the best example I can give right now, suppose you go to yahoo.com. So in that home page of Yahoo, there is a weather related information. They always display weather related information in right side of the page. So that particular information is a separate component, and that gets updated on a certain time. So that is getting updated automatically, means you do not need to reload complete page for for updating that weather information, or whatever you are doing on their home page. Suppose you are reading some news, or you are going through some content, still you don't need to worry about that weather section. It is going to get update ultimately at a certain point of time. So that is the whole idea about this component, means that helps us to improve performance of your web page or website, because ultimately you do not need to reload every of the component, or complete website or complete page. Just a particular component, whatever you want to update, you can update. So it will performance will get improved, because what happens, there will be multiple components in your website or web page. So instead of reloading all the component, because if you reload all the components, or all the content of your website at a point of time, then it is going to take a lot of time, and again it is unnecessary to perform. Like, why do we need it? Why do we need to reload a certain component if we do not if we do not have any such requirements of updating it? Still we are updating that particular component. So that is the major difference. So that is why components are a major backbone, you can say, because everything we deal in this React, it is ultimately going to somehow related to this component part only. So instead of discussing all that theoretical concept, what we are going to do right now, we are going to create our very first component. And inside and there again there are two types of component. That is, one is functional component, and second is class based component. So I will be in this video we will be discussing about functional components. And again, what we'll be doing, we will be getting familiar with this functional component first, and then we will be creating our first minor project. And that minor project is contact card application that I have shown you in first video. So in that contact card application, we will be creating simple card component, and we will be reusing it. So from that minor application, we will be getting idea about this particular functional component part. Then we will be moving forward, and we will be seeing class based component and what are the difference among both of them. And again, then we will be creating our first major project, that will be what we that image search application. So there we will be using the concept of this class based component. So right now, let's create our very first functional component. So again, right now, in previous video, what we have done, we have basically displayed something over the browser by calling a function. So instead of writing all of this, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to create two different sections. So first, I'm basically going to display a heading on the browser, and that will be hello, this is my list. Sorry, this is my list. And again, like in this particular division, I'm going to show a you can say list. So let's create an unordered list, and inside there let's put two items right now. And that items are basically we can call it first item, or you can say sorry, second item. So again, second item. and remove all of that because we do not need it right now. And again, that import we can remove as well. And right now we have created these two items, so let's run our application right now. So right now you can see we have two separate section. One is for heading, displaying heading, and one is list. So but still they are, we have created a single division. But now what I'm going to do, instead of writing this way, I'm going to create a complete component, separate component for these both of them. Like this will be a heading component and this will be a list component. So right now what I can do now, see how can we define our functional component. So to write functional component, we basically use function. So let's create a variable or like heading, give it a name heading because it will be ultimately going to our heading component. And then we can use arrow function. So I hope you are familiar with this arrow function. Sorry, that is, from ES6 onward we can use this arrow function, and inside from this particular functional component we can return something like heading. So instead of writing here, I can simply cut this code and I can use it here only. So this is I am going to return, and similarly I can create another component, and that will be our list component. So instead of heading, I can write list, and again I will be using arrow function, and I will be returning a particular list from here. So this list I am going to return like this, what we call, yeah. So this way I can return a list. So it is a multiple line, so generally we can put it inside a bracket, and I can return this one. And again, if you are confused about this header function, so just let me write the syntax. Like if you wanted to define a particular function, so how will you define that? So you can write this function keyword, and then you can write any function whatever you want, and then you can create a function like this way, and there will be some code. So again you can give any function name x y z, or so now you can write the same thing inside this, and you can give you can assign this particular this function to any const, sorry, so const and heading, so we call it head. So in this way you can write this function. So instead of this writing this function keyword and everything, I just use arrow function. So it's it's better way of writing it. So I generally use like I use arrow functions for defining functions. You can use this way, both are same. So it's on you, whatever you want to write. So let's delete it, and let's use our arrow function, but both are same basically. So you can write function keyword and define a function, and both will be the same, just assign them to particular heading. So right now we can see that we have defined two functions here, and again basically these two are not functions now, they are basically a component. So these two have become a component, where so why we are calling them functional component, because ultimately these are functions only. So in the functional form we are defining, so again this has become component. And how are they components? Because right now what we can do, we can delete all this code, and we can simply call them directly here. So I can call my heading here, and I can call my list here. Wait, I can call my list here. So now this is the best part of components. So these are basically functional component, because we have defined in a functional form, and we have created these components like by giving name heading and list. So we can directly call it this way inside this particular division. So now if we run our application, so you can see it is not going to change, basically the same thing we will be getting, but now we have two components. So again right now what we can do, we can use them as many time as we want. So again we can like if I write one more time list, so I get one more list. So this is the benefit of particularly reusability, you can say. So this is the reusability concept. And again I can, if I want to write a heading below my list, so again I can do that, and I will be getting a hello, this is my list. So as many time as I want, I can write that this code. So this is basically your structure of functional component. And always try to get familiar with concept of ES6. I can create a new video if you guys want on ES6, means what are the basically major differences between basically modifications after ES6 was launched, or basically after 2015 standard, whatever the, suppose this like class components has class concept has been added after ES6, and this arrow functions was added after ES6. So these were some major modifications in JavaScript syntax. So this way we write basically arrow functions. So instead of defining all the like function keyword and giving it a name and everything, you can just simply write write this way, like by defining arrow function. So it is same as defining a function and then writing it. So generally try to use this arrow function, get familiar about this arrow function. And so we have created basically two components. But again, since till now what we were doing, we were basically all the codes we were writing in this particular index.js. So right now what I'm going to do, instead of doing all this particular what we call it writing code inside this index.js, always we are going to create a separate app component, and inside that app component we will be writing our code, and we will be just calling it inside this our particular index.js. So let's create a new file, and basically that file we can like name it as app, and we will be calling this app always. Now we will be basically writing inside this app.js, and basically we will be creating components and everything inside app.js, and then we will be including it here. So again, I can write import react, and from react basically we do not need to import, but still just import it. Maybe if in at later point of time we want to use it, we can use it. So basically we have imported our react. Now what I'm going to do, I am going to basically create what we can call it like heading, we can call it. So yeah, so again, yeah, now there is a point, instead of though we are going to create this app.js file, because ultimately we are we are going to include all our this components whatever we have defined. Inside this particular we are going to call all of our component inside this app.js. Again, app.js we will be calling inside this. So we are not going to write code in this particular index.js, and inside app.js we will be calling our components. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to create a new folder for our particular components, to store our components. So I create a folder components, and inside that I am going to create two new files. Why two new files? Because we have two components. One is heading component, and second one is list component. So create a heading.js, and second one I can create a again new file inside this component folder only, list.js. So right now what I can do, I can basically copy the code from this particular what we call it index.js, from this index.js particular we can cut this component from here, and we can paste it here. And again, now there's the concept of that exporting module. So we basically we have created our component, and this component is returning a list, and this component we have to export now. So how can we export it? Export default and component name. So this way we can by default export it. And again, for similar this similar for heading, I'm going to include my heading component here inside heading.js, and again I can export it using this particular syntax. So basically that importing exporting part I have basically explained in previous video, and if you haven't got this export default statement why we are using it, just go to that video and watch it. And right now what we did, we basically created two separate components, heading and list. Now what I'm going to do, inside my app.js I'm going to import both of these components. So to import a component, we have to use this function name, whatever the variable name we have used. So to import heading, from heading I am going to dot slash, because right now it is in components folder. So from components I can include heading. And dot slash, because we are in the same directory src, and in src we have to look for this component folder. So this way we can import it, and again we can do for the same list. So because to use our component, we have to import it. Again I have told you, so we are basically importing both of our components, and then we can what we can do now, what we can do here, just see. Again we are not going to display anything from here. We are just going to return this app component from this particular to this index.js, and there what we will be doing, instead of writing all this code, we will be simply calling this app function. So this is the standard way, and now from onward what we will be doing, we will be simply creating a app.js file, and there we will be calling all of our components, and from that app.js we will be calling here. So we are not going to write much code in this index.js just will be containing this app component, and and app component will be containing all of our component. So inside this, again we can create a new app component, because app is again a component only. So again I can write arrow function here, and I can export it, default app. And now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to call my return function, because ultimately it is going to return something. So inside a division I'm going to return my particular, what we call it, so from here I am going to return my both of the components. So the same way whatever we did inside that index.js, we are going to do same thing here. Means we are going to return our components from here, and that will be basically we have imported from here. So again from here we have returned some JSX. So from here we can return JSX directly, whatever, like suppose we have returned list, or suppose we have returned some heading, but here we have to return some division to display on the browser, because ultimately we have to return division to display something on the browser. So here we are basically returning both of the components, and again to call it here, I have to include this app.js. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to basically import this file, and here I will be calling my so app is outside this component folder, so directly I can use /app.js. So right now if I'm going to run my code, so I will be getting the same thing, but from creating separate files and separate components. And basically if I run my application, so right now you can see I have just imported my what we call heading component, and this list component, and I can basically have included inside this app, and from app I am going to include this inside index.js. So this is the whole concept of functional component. This way we create a functional component, and we return some JSX code, and then we export it, and we can import it to a particular file, and then we can run. So we could have done all of that inside index.js, means we could have created our component here only, but again it will be very misleading, or you can say confusing, basically, because ultimately you will not get an idea about what components do you have, how much components do you have, and what each component is going to perform, and all of that. So in that case what we are basically did, we basically created separate files for each of the components. So it is now it is clear that heading component is going to display heading, and list component is going to display list. And then this is the what we can say generally the standard that developers follow. They create a app.js file to call all the components whatever they have defined, and inside app.js you can write some coding, or you can call basically this app.js is used to call your application, call your components, and then inside index.js we just call app. So if you go to any GitHub directory or wherever, or you look for some code or anything, So there you means if you go to any project, React projects, you will be getting the same structure. Means inside index.js they will be calling this app component, and inside app component they will be calling their other components, and their other components will be defined inside a component folder, and there they will be returning some JS. So this is the way of defining functional components. So again, this was the first video, and we discussed about how to create functional component and everything. And again, from in next video we will be defining about some properties that they can inherit and everything, like props is there and everything. And after after next video, in next to next video, we will be creating our very first application, and that will be contact card application. And there we will be creating some functional component, and there we will basically we will be creating this card component, and inside card component we will be putting some data, and that component we will be calling. So let's end this video here. And again, I am going to this time I am going to give you this code. I will be giving the directory link, and there you can download your code, and you can run on your browser. Just try to run it. I will be providing the code link in this description of this video. And again, I will be providing the link of that particular video, import export, because if you have not if you didn't get this statement, what is export and everything, so I have already explained this in previous video. So I will be giving the link of that video as well. So just go and watch it, how to export and import functions. And this is the way of defining our functional component. So that's it. Let's meet in the next video, and there I will be discussing about properties and everything. Then we will be moving forward to create our first application. Okay, thank you.